Hey, welcome to my YouTube channel.
Kivox wipes the screen when the super dish is rest. Games and reactions light up faces from east to west. But the heart of every weekend beats.
Welcome. I'm excited about this because I haven't watched these guys in a long time and I completely forgot about them. They're called Man at Arms Reforged, and then the channel name is like Me. I guess the company they work for is called Baltimore Knife and Sword. They're weaponsmiths. And I'm pretty sure they do normal stuff too, but their videos were like circled around doing like swords and weapons and shields, and they might have done armor at one point. Don't quote me on that. But from like video games and anime and like movies and stuff like that. So it's a really cool channel, and I fell off from them for a while, but they've made some cool stuff like the Scissor Blade back in the day. They made Squall's Gunblade from Final Fantasy VIII. I think they made the Cloud's Buster Sword at one point too. Really cool. You got to check out their channel. This one is going to be the Needle from Hollow Knight. And I'm doing this because I think I might eventually buy that game and I might do it on stream. We'll see. So yeah, I know I say a lot, but let's just jump into this and check it out, guys. I'm looking forward to this one.
This episode is sponsored by War Thunder.
War Thunder.
I'm Kerry Stagmer, and we are the blacksmiths of Baltimore Knife and
I wonder
Sword.
if all the same guys are still there.
We're going to be building some of your favorite things and fantastic objects you've never seen before. This is Man at Arms Reforged.
We've been really busy here at BKS making some amazing items
He's
for some
new.
legendary game studios. Some of those builds require more forging, some require more engineering and manufacturing to make them come to life. As you can see in previous videos, we forged nail and then upgraded it to pure nail. Today, in anticipation of the upcoming release of Hollow Knight Silksong, we're going to be making Hornet's Needle, the big sister to Hollow Knight's nail.
Nice.
Kevin and I are going to start
they
forging
must have
Hornet's
did a different
Needle
one.
from a solid piece of 1045. Our goal is to have it be one integral piece of steel where the handle, pommel, and blade are all from the same piece.
It's gotta be hard work. Tell you what, you built some muscles doing this job. And heat tolerance. Sorry for the quick pause again. I love watching people do this stuff. Just to be able to, my first job out of high school was as a carpenter. So I've always enjoyed seeing things basically come from nothing to something. Like I love seeing things being created with people's hands and just seeing the whole process of it being done. It's pretty cool.
Starting from this massive piece of material, Kevin and Andrew get to forging. They're using the Nazel hammer to actually divide the material down into the sections for the pommel, the guard area, and the blade itself.
Cool.
The handle has to be drawn down quite a bit, so there's a bunch of forging here. They have to measure to make sure they have the right amount of material for each section.
And even though I've watched this a bunch, I still know nearly nothing about how swords and knives are like actually built. I wouldn't be able to describe it to anybody.
Kevin now switches to using a sledgehammer. For this type of work, it's pretty easy if you've got to come in at some angles to change the direction you want to push the material, to just go at it with a sledgehammer while someone else holds it on the anvil.
I wonder if you can only I know if it cools down, you can reheat it to try and shape it again, but I wonder if you can only do that so many times before the strength quality starts to go down. I have no clue. And I think that's so cool to look at.
Before the guys begin the next step, let's first hear about today's sponsor, War Thunder. Everyone loves seeing molten metal, big power hammers, and hot sparks on Man-at-Arms Reforged.
True.
But real fans know the amount of detail and comprehensive research that goes into forging each piece. That attention to detail is personally what I look for when choosing a new game to play. So when I heard that War Thunder not only features impressive graphics...
I've been thinking about giving this a try. Is it worth it? I mean, when I was younger, I used to love games that were similar to this. Maybe not that similar, but this style of game or location type. I don't know the words. I don't know what I'm trying to say. But anyway, I like the look of that game, and I've been wondering if I should try it or not.
Graphics and gameplay, but also includes one of the most detailed vehicle catalogs ever made. I had to download it right away. War Thunder is the most comprehensive vehicle combat game ever made for PC, Xbox, PlayStation, and mobile devices. We're talking over 2,500 tanks, planes, helicopters, and ships.
And the planes are the reason I really want to do it. I mean, I've loved fighter jets my entire life.
From 10 major nations. Sophisticated vehicle damage mechanics that include an impressive damage X-ray view, in-depth customization, and much more. And with incredibly detailed vehicles, realistic graphics, and authentic sound effects, you'll find yourself quickly immersed in the intense combat of War Thunder. They even have a mobile version on iOS and Android that I recommend you download.
Nice.
With impressive graphics, intuitive controls, and massive multiplayer warfare mode,
it does look pretty good.
I can take the action with me wherever I go. War Thunder is free to play on PC, Xbox, PlayStation, and mobile devices. Just use my links in the pinned comment or video description to get started. Best of all, PC and console players who are new or returning players who haven't played in over 6 months will receive a massive bonus pack that includes multiple premium vehicles, the exclusive vehicle decorator Eagle of Valor, 100,000 Silver Lions, and 7 days of premium account. This offer is available for a limited time only, so be sure not to miss out. So join in the worldwide community of over 70 million players and delve into the breathtaking experience that is War Thunder.
Yeah.
As you can see,
I feel like war games have died off so hard, man. I remember the glory days of Medal of Honor, and now everything just wants to be like Call of Duty Online, and it's just, I don't know, man. It's just like, I used to love war games, and now they suck. Simple as that. They just suck. If anyone knows of any, then let me know. That's great, because I used to play Medal of Honor back on like the PS2. The first online war game I played, or I guess the second one, because the first one would have been Coat of Arms. It was like an online multiplayer game. I don't know if it's still around. The third one was called MAG. It was on the PS3, and it was so underrated. It was like the first massive online multiplayer game, and you controlled squads, then platoons, and eventually you were like you were like the commander in charge, and you'd control like all 120 something people on your side of the field. People didn't have to listen to your commands, but if they did, they would get perks and points and level up. So it was an incentive to actually do what your commander told you to do. And it went down to each level, all the way down to like a 6-person squad or something like that. I got so good at that game, and I was so bummed when it essentially got discontinued because there wasn't enough people to play it, so you couldn't get into the actual maps because they would never load because they never filled up. But anyway, MAG was great. I miss those games, and I think the last war game I got really good at was Battlefield 4. I don't know if it was Battlefield. I think it might have been Battlefield 4. I don't remember. That's the only game I can get really good at when I don't play casually. It takes probably a little extra time, but I get really good at those games. Just don't have the time to play them anymore. Anyway, sorry, distracted. Back to the show.
we've got the handle pretty much drawn out to where we want it. Needs a little more rounding up and refining. And the next thing we'll do is punch a hole in our pommel, which we've refined a little bit. So once we get this all finalized, then we'll be ready to put this back in on the other end and get the blade drawn out. And we're about halfway there already.
Nice. The amount of satisfaction you have when you finish these things too. got to be up there. Music. Suspenseful.
Now that they have the correct preform for this pommel area, Kevin's going to punch it out. That's going to both put the hole through the center, and it's going to begin to stretch this material to get a much larger ring like we see on the back of a needle.
My shoulder's so shot, I wouldn't be able to do this. I'd swing like 5 times and my shoulder would be dead. Thank you, high school football. He did the thing. He made a hole.
Kevin now begins forging over the horn of the anvil. This horn is actually tapered. It's not exactly round like you'd think. So as he drives this material down, creating the outside form to get it nice and smooth, it's actually hammering from the inside and opening this ring up to make it larger. To continue the punch hole being drifted larger, Kevin now drives it down onto a cone mandrel that's actually standing on the floor. This is about 5 inches at the bottom, so he won't go all the way through to the base, but he will make this much larger.
I remember before I started watching these, I always wondered how they do that. Don't touch. It's hot.
Now that the pommel and handle areas are to form,
Make the
this is
blade.
the time for the really big forging. We begin to drive this down under the Nazel power hammer, first to basically flatten the round, and then to draw it out to the length of this huge blade.
Yeah. Don't put your hand in there. What's all that? I forgot all those impurities that come off of it. I think it's impurities. I don't know. Is that like slag? Is that what that's called? Or am I thinking of something else? Man, everybody's new. I don't recognize any of these people. That's smart. Draw out your template on the ground with chalk so you can lay it up to it.
Kevin now begins to use handheld top tools. As you see it here, the radius is to the bottom. This will cause stretching, but it will allow him to do that fairly smoothly.
Not only like would I be bad at this because my shoulder's messed up, but when they're coming, that hammer's coming down on that rounded tool to shape it more. I feel like I'm not sure-handed enough to do that, and I would second guess if I hit a spot enough times or if I missed an area, and I don't know. I feel like I wouldn't be confident enough to do that. Especially with the limited time you have with the blade's heat. It's looking sick.
Now that Kevin and Andrew are done turning 30 pounds of
Another new
steel
guy.
into this, I now have to do some aggressive grinding it and make it into needle.
Yeah, there's some music for you. Not to mention doing this kind of work, I'm bound to make a bad mistake. Did it as a carpenter too. So off topic for a second. When I was working as a carpenter, I was I was finally getting comfortable doing what I was doing, and I wanted to make a gift for my grandpa at the time. I was gonna make like an oak like platter where he can present food or whatever, or you put flowers on. I don't care. I didn't care, like on his table. So I had a scratch piece of oak, and I was running it through a thing called a shaper, which puts like the decorative corners on the pieces of wood. And this thing was spinning. I don't know. It was like 3,500 RPMs or something like that. I don't remember. It's been way too long. Anyway, I set the fence. I didn't set the fence close enough to the blade, and the fence is basically what you run the piece of wood along. And so I didn't set it. You want to set it almost touching the blade. I forgot to do that when I was running the test piece. So I'm running this test piece through, and the blade bites it, and this whole shaper is like pushed up against the wall. The piece of oak gets pulled through, it hits the wall, bounces back, and shoots through the other way, and just barely misses my knee by like, I don't know, probably like a half inch, because I felt it brush past my pant leg. If that thing was flying, it put a perfectly rectangular hole in the wall. If that thing would have hit my knee, it would have been done. It would have been so done. I got so lucky. I kept that piece of wood for years. It's just a reminder. I don't think I have it anymore. But yeah, I did end up finishing the piece. It turned out really good, but yeah. Don't do that, kids. Wasn't an experience I recommend.
As you've seen us do before, we're going to have 2 people working on this blade. The amount of fatigue that you have with something this heavy is pretty extreme. With 2 guys, especially working sideways like this, they're going to be able to control where the grind goes and remove a ton of material.
Lighten that weight up a little bit.
Now that Butch and Paul have the blade rough ground, I'm going to work on blending in this transition area.
One solid piece, man.
Even though you often see us sculpting using the large sanders, sometimes it's easier to move the sander than it is to move the part. So occasionally we'll drop to hand sanders and begin to remove material this way. The closer you forge, the less grinding you do. And on a big sander, it doesn't make as much difference as you'd think, but on a small sander, it makes quite a difference.
Oh, I bet.
Now that needle is rough ground to the correct shape, Paul and Andrew begin
It's looking
refining
clean.
the surfaces before it's sent to the forge for heat treatment. Paul will do as much as he can on the belt grinder before handing it over to Andrew.
My favorite thing they ever do is when they fold material on top of each other several times, and they treat it with like this, I don't know if it's acid, and then they pull it out and you see all the lines, kind of like you would see in a Damascus blade. That's just the coolest thing. When they did the scissor blade, I won't spoil it in case you want to go back and watch it with what they made it out of and what they did. But the design on it when they were finished was one of the coolest things I've seen. A little more house music now.
Andrew now focuses on cleaning up the pommel area. You're going to see things change from just a really rough surface to a final smooth finish. We're going to leave a little extra meat on there. We'll see what happens when we have to upgrade.
Yeah. The steam coming off that thing.
Something that has this much form and is this large, we want to try and keep it as straight as possible. So we're going to do what's called normalizing. We're going to bring it up to temperature and then let it air cool. We'll do that a couple of times, and it will both refine the grain structure of the steel itself, and it will kind of take that memory out from the forging, and the piece will be much straighter as we take it out of the oil.
I think this is the one that really is like time sensitive. As soon as you pull that stuff out, and I think you're going to see here, unless they already did it, as soon as they pull that out, they're going to like grab onto that blade with something and try to straighten it. And they have another guy kind of eyeing it to check its straightness. But you only have so much time to do it before it, like, I don't know if it just permanently stays bent or what, but yeah, or if they have to start the process over. I don't know. Fire! That's so cool looking.
You saw what
Okay,
we did
so
with
they didn't
nail,
show it.
where first we forged it and finished it, and then we were able to take it to pure nail. We really have no idea what Team Cherry has in mind for upgrade.
I think part of the reason I stopped watching these videos, not only was their like upload schedule bad like that, I think they went like a couple of years without doing anything. But they started rushing their videos a little more, skipping a lot of details.
So we're going to keep as much material on needle as we can before we upgrade it to its final form.
Nice. Pretty simple as far as design, but they did a really good job. Now the fun part, the demo. See how sharp that blade is. Goes in clean. It's just, it's like they're stabbing a jug of milk and it looks like they're going to cut cake. It's like the hardcore like music in the background just seems over the top. No, what a waste. It's almost my birthday. I could have eaten that. That'd be so much fun. That'd be the best part. Just swinging that thing around. Oh, here we go. Yeah. Shish kebab, nice. That's got to be kind of heavy. Yeah.
A special thanks to War Thunder for sponsoring this episode. Use the links in the pinned comment or video description to download War Thunder for PC, PlayStation, Xbox, and mobile devices. New players and returning PC and console players who haven't played War Thunder for 6 months will receive a massive bonus pack to help begin your adventure.
Go get
Download
it.
today.
Awesome. Yeah, that was them. Their stuff's great. Like I said, I think, like I told you, the reason I kind of fell off, it was still fun. Not the most like detailed blade in the world, but it was still pretty cool. If you guys want to check out their channel with their other things, please, I'll put this, like I said, I'll put this video down below. You can check out their channel through there. Pretty awesome. If you like what I'm doing, even though I don't even know what I'm doing, please put a like and subscribe, comment below. Doesn't matter to me. I still don't know what I'm going to do in the future. I don't know if I'm going to react to more stuff. I don't know if I'm going to stream more. I don't know if I'm going to do both. Beats me. I'm just kind of winging it. So anyway, thanks for checking this stuff out. I will talk to you guys later. Bye.